Ethan was just another human living quietly on a faraway colony planet called Vela Prime. He liked his life simple. Fixing old machines, trading spare parts, and staying away from trouble. He never expected anything exciting to happen here, but that evening, everything changed. The sun was setting, casting a deep orange light over the crowded marketplace. Ethan was busy repairing a small communication device when he felt someone watching him. He looked up, expecting a customer. But instead, he saw her. She stood there between the stalls, staring directly at him. She was not human. Her skin was a smooth shade of teal, glowing softly like the ocean under moonlight. Her long silver hair flowed over her shoulders, and her eyes, deep, shimmering violet, locked onto his dot. At first, Ethan thought she was just another alien traveler. Many species passed through this market, but there was something different about her. Something familiar. Then she spoke. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice gentle but sure. "Do you recognize me?" Ethan froze. His name. She knew his name. But how? He didn't remember ever meeting an alien like her. "I don't think so," he replied, standing up slowly, his eyes still on her. "Have we met before?" She smiled softly, like someone seeing an old friend after a long time. "Yes," she said, her voice almost a whisper. "I am your childhood neighbor." Ethan frowned. That made no sense. His childhood was on Earth, far from any alien worlds. He had lived in a small city, surrounded by humans, playing in the dusty streets with other kids. There was no way he had an alien neighbor. "You must be mistaken," Ethan said, but his voice was weak. Deep inside, something about her voice stirred a memory he couldn't catch. A feeling of warmth, a friend's laughter. But the image was blurry. She stepped closer, her eyes glowing under the marketplace lights. "You don't remember me yet, but you will," she said. "I've been looking for you for many years." Ethan took a step back. He wasn't sure if this was some trick or a scam. Or maybe she was confusing him with someone else. Then, from the corner of his eye, Ethan noticed them. 3 shadowy figures watching from the crowd. They were covered in black cloaks, but their eyes glowed red under their hoods. And they were focused on Ethan and the girl. "Who are they?" Ethan asked quietly. She turned her head and her smile disappeared. "They found us," she whispered, then looked at Ethan with urgency. "You have to come with me now. If you want answers, follow me." "Wait, what's going on?" Ethan asked, confused. "There's no time," she insisted, her voice firm. "If they catch you, you'll never remember who you really are." The red-eyed figures started moving closer, pushing through the crowd. Ethan could feel his heart racing. He didn't understand what was happening, but something deep inside told him she was not lying. There was a truth hiding just beyond his reach, and this girl was the key to it. Ethan made his decision. He grabbed his tool bag and ran after her. She smiled briefly and then sprinted ahead, leading him through narrow alleys behind the market. They ran between old buildings, jumped over pipes, and ducked under low passages. The red-eyed men chased them silently, but quickly. "Who are they?" Ethan shouted while running. "They're called the Syndicate," she answered, breathing hard. "They don't want you to remember me. They don't want you to remember your past." Ethan couldn't understand it. His past was boring, an ordinary childhood, school, life on Earth. What could be so important about his past? Finally, they reached an old, hidden elevator behind a broken wall. She pressed a code, and the doors opened. "Get in," she said as they entered. The red-eyed men appeared at the alley's end, but the doors closed just in time. The elevator rumbled down into the dark. Ethan leaned against the wall, panting. "Start talking," he said. "What is all this? Who are you really?" She looked at him, her violet eyes sad but full of hope. "My name is Lyra," she said, "and long ago you promised me something important. Something that could change everything between our species." Ethan stared at her, confused and frustrated. But I don't remember you. I don't remember any of this. You will, she said softly. I'll help you remember. Because if you don't, everything is lost. The elevator stopped with a heavy thud. The doors opened to a glowing underground chamber, filled with ancient symbols and technology Ethan had never seen before. Welcome to the place where your real story begins, Lyra whispered. Ethan stepped forward, his mind full of questions. His heart pounding with a strange feeling he couldn't explain, like he was coming home to a memory long forgotten. But he still didn't know. Was Lyra telling the truth? Or was this the beginning of a dangerous lie? Only time would tell. The elevator doors closed behind them with a heavy sound, sealing them away from the surface above. The air inside was cooler, filled with a soft hum of ancient machinery. Ethan looked around, his eyes adjusting to the dim blue lights flickering along the walls. Lyra stood silently beside him, her violet eyes watching him closely. She wasn't just a stranger anymore. She was a puzzle piece Ethan never knew he was missing. Where are we? Ethan asked, his voice echoing softly. Lyra walked ahead, her silver hair shimmering under the pale lights. A place forgotten by both our kinds, she answered. But your memories began here. Ethan followed her into a massive underground hall. It was like a lost temple, filled with alien symbols and smooth glowing stones. At the center stood a tall glass-like pillar, pulsing with faint light. This is an archive, Lyra said, placing her hand on the pillar. It holds memories. Of us. Ethan shook his head. You keep saying I knew you, that we were neighbors, but that's impossible. I grew up on Earth. I never saw aliens until I was an adult. Lyra smiled faintly, almost sadly. That's what they wanted you to believe. She pressed her hand against the pillar, and suddenly, a beam of light shot up. Images floated in the air, holograms of two children playing together under twin moons. One was human, and the other was her, young Lyra, smiling and laughing. Ethan's breath caught. The human child. It was him. He stepped closer, his heart pounding. No, that can't be me. It is, Lyra said softly. Before the war, humans and my people shared this colony. We lived side by side. You and I were friends, more than friends. We were like family. Ethan's mind throbbed. Flashes of laughter, running through glowing forests, sitting under alien stars, images he couldn't fully grasp, yet they felt warm and familiar. Why don't I remember this? He whispered. Because when the war broke out powerful, humans decided peace was too dangerous, Lyra explained. They erased all signs of unity. And you were taken from this world, your memories wiped clean. They sent you back to Earth, made you believe you belonged only to humans. Ethan staggered back, struggling to breathe. If what she said was true, then his entire life. His memories were a lie. But why me? He asked, why go through all that trouble for just a kid? Lyra touched the glass pillar again. A new image appeared, a symbol shaped like a spiral sun, surrounded by alien runes. You weren't just any child, she said. You carried something unique. A gift, a secret memory map hidden inside you. You and I discovered something. As children, a hidden place, a technology that could bring peace between our worlds. But the Syndicate feared it. They wanted it lost forever. That's why they took you away. Ethan's mind felt heavy, like a door was trying to open but remained locked. I don't remember any of that, he admitted, frustrated. You will. Lyra promised, her eyes shining with hope. But they're hunting us because they know if you remember, the peace can return. And the Syndicate profits from war and fear. Suddenly, the ground shook. Dust fell from the stone ceiling. Lyra's eyes widened. They found us, she whispered. Ethan looked back toward the elevator, but the power was dead. Heavy footsteps echoed down the stone halls. We have to move, Lyra said, grabbing his hand. I can take you to someone who can help unlock your mind." They ran through winding tunnels lit by glowing stones, but the Syndicate's hunters were close. Their red eyes glowed in the darkness, their heavy boots striking the stone floor like war drums. Lyra led Ethan through a hidden door, which slid shut just as a hunter's shadow appeared around the corner. Breathing hard, Ethan looked at Lyra. "Why do you care so much about me? Why risk your life?" Lyra looked into his eyes, her voice gentle but sad. "Because you once promised me, Ethan. You promised that one day you'd come back for me. You said we'd find a way to unite our worlds, together." The words hit Ethan like a forgotten melody. Somewhere deep inside, something stirred. "I promised you?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "Yes, and I waited all these years, because I believed in that promise." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Only the distant sound of hunters searching echoed around them. Ethan didn't fully remember. But looking at Lyra, he felt something real. A connection, a truth that refused to stay buried. "Then let's find that truth," Ethan said firmly. "Let's finish what we started." Lyra smiled, a tear shining in her eye. "I knew you'd come back to me." Together, they pushed deeper into the tunnels, toward a future built on a forgotten past, and a promise that still waited to be fulfilled. The tunnels grew colder and darker as Ethan and Lyra moved deeper underground. The walls were rough stone mixed with old alien metal, half forgotten by time. Faint lights pulsed along the paths like veins glowing under skin. Behind them, the sound of heavy boots grew louder. The Syndicate hunters were still coming. Their footsteps echoed like distant thunder, slow and steady. They weren't in a hurry, because they knew their prey had nowhere to run. Ethan's legs burned, his breathing sharp. He had so many questions, but right now only one thing mattered: survival. "Where are you taking me?" Ethan asked between breaths. "To the Archive's core," Lyra answered, her voice low but steady. "There's an old guide there. A machine mind. It might help unlock the memories hidden in you. Memories I don't even know exist." Ethan muttered, shaking his head. "This feels crazy." Lyra glanced at him, her expression soft but serious. "I know it sounds like madness, but your mind holds something they fear, and something I've waited for all my life." Ethan didn't reply, but deep inside, her words stirred something, like a dream half remembered. Suddenly, a sharp humming noise echoed behind them. "Energy blades," Lyra whispered, eyes wide. "They're close." They turned a corner, but the hallway split into two paths. Lyra paused, unsure. "We go left," Ethan said, surprising himself. Lyra stared at him. "How do you know?" Ethan blinked, confused. I don't know. It just feels right." Without waiting, he led the way. Lyra followed, her heart racing, because the boy she remembered, the boy who made a promise under the twin moons, always knew the secret paths. Maybe his memories weren't as gone as they thought. The tunnel opened into a wider chamber, circular, with strange stone pillars covered in glowing runes. At the center stood a tall, spindly machine, shaped like a humanoid, but made of crystal and steel. Its eyes glowed dimly blue. "This is the guide," Lyra whispered. She touched a rune on the pillar. The machine stirred, its eyes growing brighter. "Who wakes me?" The machine spoke, its voice like wind through chimes. "I am Lyra, and this is Ethan," she said. "He was here once. He carries a locked memory. We need to unlock it before the Syndicate comes." The guide turned its glowing gaze to Ethan. It stepped closer, humming. "You have returned." The human child who knew the path of unity. Ethan's head hurt suddenly, a sharp stabbing pain. Flashes of alien gardens, laughter, a hidden door under a glowing tree. But they vanished. Before he could grasp them, "Unlock him," Lyra urged. "I can try," the guide said. "But unlocking memories forcibly can harm the mind. Are you willing, human?" Ethan hesitated, but the sound of syndicate hunters entering the tunnels grew louder. "I don't have a choice, do I?" he muttered. He stepped forward. The guide placed a gentle crystal hand on his forehead. A sudden wave of light and sound flooded Ethan's senses, and then he saw it. Two children, one human and one alien, playing under twin moons. They laughed, explored caves, and found a secret chamber, a place where ancient technology hummed beneath the soil. There, they made a promise. "We'll unite our worlds one day," the young Ethan said, smiling. "No more war. I'll come back for you, Lyra, I promise." But then the war came. Soldiers in dark armor, screaming. A man with cold eyes, a human general, took Ethan, whispering, "You will forget. This peace can't exist." The memory ended. Ethan collapsed, gasping for air, his head pounding. "I remember," he whispered. "I promised you. I said I'd come back." Lyra knelt beside him, her eyes shining with tears. "And you did," she said softly. The guide's eyes dimmed. "The hunters are near. You must go." But it was too late. The chamber doors burst open. The syndicate hunters stepped in, their red eyes glowing, energy blades humming. At the center stood a taller figure, cloaked and masked, with a deep, commanding voice. "End of the path, human," the figure said. "You should have stayed forgotten." But when Ethan looked at him, something strange happened. A feeling, a connection. "Who are you?" Ethan asked, struggling to his feet. The masked figure tilted his head. "You don't recognize me, brother?" Ethan froze. "Brother?" Lyra gasped. She knew what that meant. The syndicate hadn't just erased Ethan's memory. They had created something else, someone else. "Run," Lyra whispered to Ethan. "I'll hold them off." "No," Ethan said firmly, his fists clenched. "I want the truth. I'm done running." The masked figure laughed darkly. Then, "Come, little brother. Let's see if you've still got the fight in you." The hunters raised their weapons. The air crackled with energy. Ethan stood tall, the memory stirring inside him, the promise burning like fire. This was no longer just escape. This was about reclaiming who he really was and discovering why the syndicate feared his return. Asterisk. The chamber was tense, heavy with silence before the fight. Ethan stood with fists clenched, his heart beating hard in his chest. Lyra stood by his side, ready to defend him with the strange energy that glowed faintly in her hands. Across the room, the masked figure, the one who called himself Ethan's brother, watched with cold amusement. His voice was deep and sharp. "You still don't remember me fully, do you, Ethan?" he asked. "But I remember you." Ethan shook his head, confused and angry. "You're lying." "I don't have a brother," the masked man chuckled. "They told you that, but the truth is Messier." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes burning. "Tell us then. Tell him what you are." The masked figure tilted his head. "I was made from him," he said simply. "The syndicate took your DNA, Ethan. When they erased you, they made me a twin, but built to serve them. I was raised in darkness, trained to be their weapon. Ethan's mind spun, a twin, made from him? You're not my brother," Ethan said bitterly. "You're their tool." "And yet, here I stand," the masked man replied. "While you forgot, I remembered everything, your face, your laughter, your bond with her." He gestured at Lyra. "I was born from your shadow, Ethan, and now I've come to end the light." Before Ethan could respond, the hunters lunged forward. Lyra reacted first, unleashing a wave of glowing force that knocked two hunters back. Ethan, still uncertain but driven by instinct, grabbed the metal rod from the ground and swung at a third hunter. They fought hard, but the masked twin watched, unmoving, as if waiting. His gaze was fixed on Ethan, studying him. "You still fight." "Like a child," the twin said. "But you'll need more than that." As the last hunter fell back from Lyra's energy strike, the twin finally stepped forward, drawing two short blades that shimmered like starlight. Ethan raised the rod, though his hands shook. Why are you doing this? What do you want? The masked man stopped a few steps away. I want you to remember everything, every promise, every lie, and when you do, you'll see that peace is a fantasy. The syndicate was right. Unity between species is a dream that always ends in blood. Ethan gritted his teeth. You're wrong. I promised her. I promised Lyra I'd return, that I'd find a way for peace. Yes, the twin said, his voice low, almost mocking. You promised. But promises are easily broken when memories are stolen. And then he attacked. Fast. Precise. Ethan barely blocked the first strike, the rod shaking in his hands. Lyra tried to help, but the twin was faster than both of them. Every move was calculated, designed to kill. Come on, brother. The twin shouted. Fight like you remember who you are. With each strike, Ethan's mind sparked with flashes, running with Lyra as children, laughing as they explored a glowing cave, discovering an ancient device, a hidden machine. With power they didn't understand, Ethan taking Lyra's hand and saying, We'll show them peace is possible. I'll protect you. I promise. The memories hit him like lightning. His arms stopped trembling. He dodged the next strike. With surprising ease, I remember. Ethan yelled, swinging the rod and knocking one of the twins' blades aside. I remember the garden, the secret place, the vow I made. Lyra's eyes widened with hope. Yes, Ethan. She shouted, You promised we'd build a bridge between our worlds. The twin hesitated for a fraction of a second, hearing those words. In that moment, Ethan swung the rod hard, striking the twin's mask. It cracked with a sharp sound. The masked figure stepped back, breathing heavily. Then, slowly, he removed his broken mask. Ethan gasped. The face underneath was his own. Not just similar, it was him. The same eyes, same jawline, but colder, scarred, and pale. I told you, the twin said softly. We are the same, but shaped by different truths. For a moment, no one moved. Then Lyra stepped forward, her voice trembling. You don't have to be their weapon. You're not just his shadow. You can choose your own path. The twin looked at her, his eyes hard but uncertain. I have no path. Only orders. You can choose, Ethan said, breathing hard. We're the same, remember. If I can choose peace, so can you. The twin's eyes flickered with doubt. But before he could speak, a distant alarm echoed through the tunnels. The syndicates. Main force is coming, Lyra whispered. The twin looked at Ethan, then Lyra, then back. I'll give you a head start. But next time we meet, I won't hold back. Without another word, he turned and vanished into the shadows. Ethan dropped the rod, his body shaking. Lyra touched his shoulder. You remembered, she said, smiling softly. You're truly back. Ethan looked into her violet eyes. Not fully, but I will remember it all. And I'll finish what I started with you. Lyra smiled through her tears. Together, we'll bring peace. Just like you promised. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew, the promise wasn't. The ancient tunnel twisted like a serpent beneath the alien earth. Ethan and Lyra moved carefully, their steps echoing softly in the silence. Strange roots hung from the ceiling, pulsing faintly with light, as if the world itself remembered them. Neither of them spoke for a while. The air felt heavier the deeper they went. Ethan could feel something, ahead, something waiting. He gripped the side wall as another vision flashed through his mind. Two children standing before a massive doorway carved into crystal. A soft humming in the air, like a heartbeat, his own voice whispering, We found it, Lyra. This changes everything. Ethan gasped and staggered. Lyra caught his arm. Another memory? She asked gently. He nodded, eyes distant. It's getting clearer, the place we found. It wasn't just a machine. It was alive somehow. It knew us. Lyra's face turned. Serious, yes, and that's why they fear it. The machine wasn't just a bridge, it was a listener. It responded only to peace, to unity. Only children could unlock it. Because we had no hate in our hearts back then. Ethan's chest tightened. And now, I'm not a child anymore. You're still the one who made that promise, Lyra said softly. And I still believe in it. They stopped at a broken platform ahead. Beyond it, a wide chasm opened, and across it was a massive sealed doorway, covered in glowing runes, pulsing slowly like breath. That's it, Lyra whispered. The gate of knowing. Behind that is the bridge. Ethan stepped forward, awestruck. It's real. But before he could take another step, a sharp sound echoed behind them. Clap, 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 slow, mocking applause. They turned fast. Up from the shadows walked the masked twin, Ethan's other self, his cloak torn, his mask cracked but still hiding most of his face. Well done, the twin said coldly. You made it this far. Ethan tensed, stepping in front of Lyra. I'm not letting you stop us. The twin tilted his head. Stop you? No, I'm here to test you. Lyra frowned. What do you mean? The twin stepped closer, drawing his energy blade. The Syndicate gave me one mission. Make sure you never reach that gate. But I need to know. Are you truly the same boy who made the promise? Or just another broken man chasing lost memories? Ethan raised his fists. I remember enough to know I won't let you stop us. The twin moved fast. In seconds, they were locked in a brutal fight. The tunnel rang with the clash of steel and sparks. But this time, Ethan was different. He wasn't fighting in fear. He was fighting to protect something real. Each blow he blocked brought back more memory. Each dodge pulled old instincts from deep inside. And as he fought, he realized something strange. His twin wasn't trying to kill him. He was testing him. Watching him. You've grown strong, the twin said, breathless. I see now, you're not like me. Ethan paused, breathing hard. Why are you doing this? You said you were made from me. But you don't have to. Be me. The twin lowered his blade slightly. Because I remember everything you forgot. I remember Lyra crying when they took you. I remember screaming inside your body when they changed me. I remember the day they made me and told me I was nothing but a tool. Lyra's voice shook. You're not a tool, she said softly. You're alive. You still have a choice. The twin turned to her, his mask slipping. Do I? They never gave me a name. I was only called Project Mirror. I had no home, no face. Only a mission. To replace Ethan if he ever returned. Ethan stared at him, seeing the pain, the bitterness. Then take a name, choose one. Be someone you decide to be. The twin laughed, but it was bitter sad. Easy for you to say. You had love. I had orders. The ground rumbled suddenly. They're coming, Lyra said. Syndicate forces, they found the gate. Ethan turned to his twin. You can help us, or you can stay in their chains. The twin looked at him long and hard. Then slowly, he reached up and removed his cracked mask. His face was bruised, tired, but unmistakably Ethan's. I don't want to be their weapon anymore, he whispered. Then help us stop them, Ethan said, offering his hand. The twin hesitated. Then, for the first time in his life, he made his own choice. He took Ethan's hand. Lyra stepped forward. Together. We might just make it. As Syndicate dropships thundered above the ancient gate, the three of them stood united. Two halves of a broken boy, and the girl who remembered him when no one else did. Whatever lay behind the gate of knowing, they would face it together, and maybe, just maybe, the promise made long ago, under alien stars would still come true. The great gate of knowing stood before them, humming low like a creature waiting to wake. The ancient runes along its surface glowed in soft patterns, shifting as if breathing. Ethan, his twin, once called Project Mirror, and Lyra stood together, their faces lit by the gate's pulse. Above them, distant thunder roared. The syndicate was coming fast, their ships cutting through the skies. Time was running out. Ethan stared at the gate, a strange pull inside his chest, like something inside was calling to him, waiting for him. "Do you remember the way to open it?" Lyra asked gently. Ethan shook his head slowly. "Not fully, but I feel like it's waiting for me to remember." His twin stepped closer, his face tense but curious. "We both came from the same mind. Maybe together we can wake it," Lyra nodded. "You must try. Both of you. This gate responds to unity, not power." The brothers exchanged a glance. Despite everything, the fights, the lies, the pain, there was an understanding now. A connection deeper than blood. Together, they stepped forward and placed their hands on the gate's cold surface. At first, nothing happened. Then a soft vibration traveled through their fingers, up their arms, into their hearts. Images flashed in their minds. Two children, human and alien, standing together, laughing under twin moons, their hands pressed to the same symbols. A voice, ancient and deep, saying, "Only in togetherness shall the path open. Only in memory and unity shall truth be seen." Ethan gasped, his eyes fluttering. His twin shuddered, falling to one knee, gripping his head. Lyra rushed forward, placing her hands on both their shoulders. "Don't fight it. Let the memories flow." Together, their minds connected, not by force, but by the shared past that the syndicate tried to erase. And then the gate responded, with a deep, resonant sound. The runes flared bright gold. The stone began to split open, light spilling through the cracks. Like dawn through a storm, a warm breeze brushed their faces, even though they were underground. And when the gate fully parted, they saw it, a vast chamber, endless and shimmering. Crystal towers stretched up into darkness, their tips blinking like stars. In the center stood a great device, shaped like a ring, floating above a pool of light. Lyra whispered, "The bridge." Ethan's breath caught. It was exactly like in his dreams, a place of peace, where thoughts and feelings could pass between species, mind to mind, heart to heart. His twin stared, his eyes wide. "I saw this in my nightmares. I thought it wasn't real. Lyra smiled faintly. "It was real. You just saw it through the syndicate's fear." Suddenly, a voice boomed from behind them, "Step away from the bridge." They turned fast. A group of syndicate soldiers entered, led by a tall figure clad in sleek black armor. His face was hidden behind a metal visor, his voice sharp and cold. "You've led us right to it," the leader said, aiming a plasma rifle at them. "We've waited decades for this. Step aside or die here." Ethan stepped forward, shielding Lyra and his twin. "You'll have to go through me first," the leader chuckled. "We only need your brain, boy, dead or alive." Before they could attack, Ethan's twin stepped beside him. "You're not touching him," the twin growled. "Not this time," the leader paused. "Ah, the failed weapon. Project Mirror. Still playing brother, are we?" "I'm not your weapon anymore," the twin snapped, his fists glowing faintly with energy. Without warning, the soldiers opened fire. Lyra threw up a barrier of light, deflecting the first wave of shots. Ethan grabbed the fallen metal staff while his twin surged forward, faster than human eyes could track, striking soldiers with brutal precision. But they were outnumbered. Lyra struggled to hold the barrier. Ethan fought with everything he had, but exhaustion crept in. His twin bled from a wound on his side. But he didn't stop. Then Ethan heard it, a voice deep inside his mind. "Remember the bridge, child of two worlds. Use it." Ethan's heart raced. He turned toward the floating ring device. Without thinking, he ran to it, placing his hand on its glowing surface. The machine lit up, and a wave of energy burst outward, washing through the room like a warm wind. Everyone froze. Soldiers, Lyra, his twin, as a strange connection formed between them all. Ethan could feel their thoughts, their pain, their fear, even their hopes, like whispers in his mind. Even the syndicate leader staggered, clutching his head. What is this? Ethan stood firm. This is the bridge. It connects. US, not by language, but by heart. He turned to his twin, feeling his brother's sorrow, his loneliness, his desire to be more than a weapon. Ethan reached out a hand. You don't have to fight anymore. Not me, not yourself. His twin trembled, his eyes wet. I don't want to be alone anymore. Lyra approached, her voice soft. You're not. You never were. You just forgot, like Ethan did. The bridge pulsed again, and the syndicate soldiers dropped their weapons, stunned by the rush of emotions flooding them. But the leader roared, raising his gun. I will not be undone by feelings. Ethan's twin moved like lightning, disarming him in a flash. He stood. The bridge pulsed softly, its light bathing the vast chamber in a warm, steady glow. For the first time in generations, the ancient machine was awake, and so were the hearts it touched. Ethan stood before it, Lyra by his side, and his twin, the man once called Prototype 7, watching silently. The air was calm now, though moments before, it was filled with chaos, weapons, and death. The syndicate soldiers stood frozen. Not because of fear, but because the bridge had shown them something they'd never known: connection. For a brief moment, they felt the pain of others, the memories of their enemies, the same desires for peace, family, and meaning, and that terrified them. Ethan looked to his twin. You felt it too, didn't you? Seven nodded slowly. For the first time, I felt more than just commands. I felt ... you. I felt her. He glanced at Lyra. I felt everything I was denied. Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady but gentle. You are not a shadow, Seven. You're a person. You don't have to follow them anymore. Seven stared at his hands, scarred and shaking. But what am I supposed to do? I was made for war. I don't know how to live without it. Ethan stepped closer, his voice firm but kind. Then learn with us. You're my brother, whether we share memories or not. And we have a world to rebuild. Seven chuckled weakly. You forgive too easily. Maybe, Ethan said, smiling faintly, but peace starts somewhere. Lyra smiled too, her eyes soft. You once promised me that you'd return and build peace, and now you've done both. Ethan looked into her eyes. Not alone. I couldn't have done it without you. The syndicate leader, still defeated, on the floor, spat bitterly. You think connection will change anything? Fear rules the galaxy, not feelings. Ethan shook his head. You're wrong. Fear ruled because we forgot how to understand each other. The bridge changes that. It lets us truly feel what others feel. When you understand someone's pain, it's harder to hate them. Seven stood tall, his voice cold but clear. And that's why your syndicate will fall. Because you built power on ignorance. Lyra turned to the soldiers. You've all felt it now. You've seen who we are. So you have a choice: stay slaves to those who feed you hate, or walk free and build something better with us. The soldiers looked at each other, uncertain, but shaken. Some dropped their weapons entirely. Others stood back, unwilling to fight anymore. The leader snarled, You'll regret sparing them. Weakness gets you killed. Seven looked down at him. No, weakness is not knowing who you are, and I finally do. With that, Seven turned away, leaving the leader in the dust of the fallen chamber. Ethan stepped back to the bridge, looking up at the shimmering ring. This place. It's not just a machine. It's alive in its own way. It wants us to understand. To connect, Lyra nodded. Then let's make the first connection. She stepped closer to Ethan. The two of them pressed their hands together on the bridge's surface. Light spread around them, gentle and golden. Ethan felt her thoughts, her hopes, her sadness from the years of waiting, the lonely nights under twin moons, wishing for her lost friend. Lyra felt his memories, the confusion of growing up feeling incomplete, the emptiness he never understood. The spark he felt when he first saw her face in the marketplace. And together, they felt one thing stronger than all others, the desire to never be alone again. Their connection glowed brighter. Lyra smiled through tears. "You came back too." "Me, just like you promised." Ethan's eyes stung. "And I'm never leaving again." Seven watched silently, something warm flickering in his chest, a feeling he didn't have a name for yet. But it wasn't loneliness anymore. Ethan turned to him. "You're part of this too, brother, not just by blood, by choice." Seven stepped forward, placing his hand on the bridge too. For the first time, all three minds connected. And in that connection, Seven felt the weight of his pain begin to lift, not forgotten, but shared. The bridge glowed brighter, pulsing like a living star. Lyra whispered, "This is just the beginning. The start of uniting two worlds." Ethan nodded. "And we'll face whatever comes next together." Far above, the first light of a new dawn broke across the planet's surface. For the first time in ages, hope rose with the sun. And in the heart of the bridge, three souls stood, a human, his twin, and the alien girl he promised to return to, ready to rewrite the future, not with war, but with understanding. Together, they would remind the galaxy that connection was humanity's greatest power. And this time, no one would forget.